Hey everyone, this is DW's Darius, and right now you're looking at my 75-gallon native aquarium. Today I want to give you guys an update on this tank and also share some of my future plans. Now before we get into that, I do apologize about the background noise. We're making this video from the floor, and down here is pretty loud, my sump system. This sump is what's keeping my 350-gallon aquarium above nice and crystal clear, but it is pretty noisy, especially being that we're sitting on the floor, so I do apologize about that. So this is only going to be the second video that I'm making of this aquarium. The first video was the actual setup video. In that video I showed you guys me decorating this aquarium, creating the aquascape, adding plants, and then adding a fish. And here we are today, which is a couple of months later. So if you saw that video, you may notice that one of the first differences you see is that the scape is a little bit different. When I first set up this tank, I wanted a little bit more of an organized look. I had all the nacres planted in a substrate. However, over time, it all started to detach. Then eventually, it all started to tangle up over here in the left corner of the tank. And at first, I didn't like it, but then eventually I saw that the fish, they really appreciated it. If we take a closer look, you can see I have a few of the bluegills surrounding it. And they just like to hide in it every now and then. The nacres catches pieces of food when I feed the tank, and they like to eat the leftover foods that get caught in it. And I think that having this little bush or this little tighter effect of a nacres is just a little bit more beneficial for the fish. Now once again, it's not what I originally wanted, because I wanted a little bit more of a uniform look. I want everything to be nice and neat. However, I'm thinking now that if I go with more of a natural look, it will not only benefit the fish, it also will have its own little nice touch. I think it will make the tank look a little bit more natural, and in my opinion, the natural tank is the more beautiful aquarium. So I have it growing in this little bunch over here, and it's growing nicely being that it's so close to the light. And eventually I'm just going to allow that bunch to hopefully fill this whole upper level of the aquarium, and I think it's going to be cool to have plants on the top half of the tank while the bottom half is a little bit more bare. Along with that, I also am allowing the algae in this aquarium to just do what I want. I'm not really going too crazy with algae. I only clean it off the glass. So if we take a closer look, you can see at this piece of driftwood, I have a little piece of hair algae, which I think looks awesome. I can imagine this hair algae growing all over this driftwood, and I think that it will look just very beautiful in the long term. So that's another way of me just trying to make this tank look as natural as possible. So pretty much I'm not putting a lot of maintenance into this aquarium. I do my water changes, I clean the algae off the glass, but besides that, I'm not scrubbing algae off rocks, off driftwood. I'm not touching the plants, I'm letting them do their own thing. And I think that the tank is going to look the best and be the best for the fish in the long term from that. Now as we make our way to the right side of the tank, you can see that I have a plant over there that has just a bunch of dead leaves. This right here is about 3 different Amazon sword plants, all of which came from my 125-gallon planted aquarium. The reason why I pulled them out of that tank is because that tank had eco-complete substrate, and it just wasn't keeping these Amazon swords alive, and they were just looking terrible. So now I have all 3 of them inside a little plastic container full of dirt, and I really didn't have any other aquarium to put them in, so they're in this tank for now. I'm just hoping that I can restore them, bring them back to life, and then eventually take them out, because of course these Amazon swords are not native to the US, and I want to keep this tank as native as possible, including fish, decorations, and plants. I also have some water lilies. Now the reason why these are in here is because these are tropical water lilies. I previously had them in a pond, but you know the pond freezes, the pond that they were in. So I just brought them in for the winter season, and then in spring I hope to be able to take them back out and just get a nice growth that I saw in the pond. Okay everyone, so now I want to give you guys a look at some of the fish in this aquarium. So as I told you guys, all the fish in this tank were collected locally from nearby streams, lakes, and reservoirs. I currently have 3 different species of fish in this aquarium. We're going to start over here with my black-nosed dace. You can see one of them right there. I currently have 2 of them in this tank. Now initially when I caught them from the wild, I caught about 20 of them. I had them live in my backyard pond. They were doing awesomely. However, when I decided to bring them into this aquarium, they definitely didn't take well to it. Some of them jumped out, some of them just died from stress. So now I'm only left with 2. So I definitely don't like seeing them alone with these 2, because these fish are schooling fish. And all schooling fish, they need their school. It helps with their social behaviors. It helps them stay safe. And they just get the best life when they're in the school. And I don't think I'm going to be able to provide a school, and that's because just in general, the tank that they're in is not meant for a school of these fish. And that's because these panfish are just so aggressive. I find these smaller bluegill sunfish, always chasing them, trying to show dominance towards them. And I just think that these fish don't fit in this aquarium. So I'm going to have to either release them back into the wild, but you know, there are concerns with releasing fish back into the wild. I would, of course, make sure that they are free of parasites and everything like that. But I want to know your guys' opinion. Do you think I should release these guys back into the wild, maybe add them to my pond, or even add them to one of my community aquariums? Let me know what you guys think, because you know, there are ups and downs to all those different outcomes. If I add them to back to the wild, they do have the chance of going back into a huge school. When I found these guys were in groups of hundreds, and I know that these guys would love being in that same scenario. But of course, there's the risk of parasites and things from our aquariums that are not safe that could enter into the wild and cause a catastrophe. So I definitely don't want that. But of course, I would like treat them for parasites before I release them back into the wild. So that's one option. Or I could try to put them maybe up there in my planting tank. Now these fish are cold water fish, so being in that tropical tank won't really be the most comfortable. But as far as tank mates, I don't think he'll really mind. So let me know what you guys think I should do with these black-nosed dace. I only have 2 of them, and they definitely won't work inside this tank with these other fish. The next species of fish in this aquarium are my bluegill sunfish. Now these guys, I have 6 of them, and the crazy thing is that I caught them all at the same size. When I caught them, they were all about 1.5 inches, and now the biggest is 4.5 inches, and the smallest is still 1.5 inches. So I know that with all fish you get different hierarchies. Right here is the biggest one right here. But I know with all fish, especially more aggressive fish, as juveniles you get different hierarchies, and the most dominant will grow fastest. But it's crazy how much of a size gap some of these fish have. So this right here, once again, is the largest of the bluegills. I love his stripes. He also have a little bit of a blue and an orangish tint to him. The camera doesn't really pick it up too well, but he definitely has some nice body features. And once again, this guy is the biggest of all the bluegills. And if we look in the shadows, we have some that are 2 to 3 inches long that stay right there in the back. And then in this little bush of Anacharis, my smallest one likes to stay in here. I don't see him now, but he's right over here. And this right here is the smallest, 1.5 inches. So that's crazy how I caught them all at this size. They all grew except this little guy. But even this little guy, I still like him being in this aquarium. It creates just a nice little big fish, small fish effect. And if you follow my channel, you know that I like that effect, to have just different sizes of fish in the aquarium. In my opinion, it just looks and feels a little bit more natural. This guy being the smallest likes to stay over here in the Anacharis. I guess it's a little bit more safe for him, a little bit more protection. Now the only bad thing about this little guy is that because he is so small, he wants to prove himself by attacking my dace. So that's one of the reasons why I want to remove the dace, because all these smaller bluegills, they're at the bottom of the pecking order. So because they don't want to be at the very bottom, they go and attack my dace. And the last group of fish in this aquarium are my pumpkin seed sunfish, one of which is right there in the center. Now this guy is actually the most dominant fish in the aquarium at about 5 inches. And sadly, this guy isn't really the most colorful out of all my pumpkin seeds. The pumpkin seeds are my favorite because they have the most potential when it comes to just overall color, in my opinion. So right here is the largest, as I said. Then as we move our way over, we have the smallest in this little log cave. And the smallest shows more color than the most dominant. And then we have my favorite, which is the medium-sized one, who's back there. And this guy shows the most color out of all the fish in his tank. So there's a number of different reasons why this guy could be showing a little bit of color. One, it could be because it may be a female. 2, it could be just because this guy is a little bit more shy. I know that some of these smaller ones are a lot less shy compared to him. When I feed the tank, all the other ones come, and then when he feels the safe, he comes out. So that could be a reason why he's showing us color. And 3, it could be just this individual fish. It could be just his personal trait to not find comfort showing a lot of color. So because of that, I plan on, when spring comes around, I want to add him to the pond, my main koi pond. I don't want to add him now because right now it's freezing, while in this aquarium it's about 7 degrees Fahrenheit, and it will be a shock to him. So I'm going to wait till spring, and then when spring comes around, I'm going to put him in the pond. And I'm going to see if that encourages some of these other guys to color up a little bit more. If it does, this guy is going to stay in a pond, and I'm just going to work with these other guys to see how much color I can get out of these fish. Now, what are my goals for this aquarium? So as I said in the beginning, when it comes to the design and the scape of this aquarium, I want it to look as natural as possible. So because of that, I'm not going to trim that necklace at all. I'm going to let it grow wild and crazy as it wants. Also with the algae, I'm not going to do anything to the algae. I'm just going to clean off the glass. But besides that, I'm going to let the algae grow nice and long. And I think that the more natural the tank looks, the more pleasing it's going to be to me and to the fish, because the fish are going to feel a little bit more comfortable and they're going to have some natural food sources. When it comes to the fish, these fish do get pretty big. These pumpkin seeds could reach about 8 inches, which is pretty decent for a 75-gallon aquarium. The bluegills could grow even larger, but eventually as they grow, I will be selecting them according to color, according to behavior, and eventually there's 3 different options I want to come with. My first and most desired option is a mated pair. I'm hoping that out of these pumpkin seeds I can find a male and a female. These fish, when they breed, they do pair off. So if I do have a male and a female, they will pair off and they will breed. If I do see that, I will immediately remove all the other fish, and that will be just a very enjoyable tank in my opinion. If I can't find a pair of these pumpkin seeds, the next option is just to grow them out and to have just a little colony of about 5 of them. I think that will look awesome. Of 5 to 6 of these fish at about maybe 6 to 7 inches. That will look pretty cool. And then in the long term, if I do get one to reach maybe 8 to 9 inches, I'll probably keep it as a solo fish, the only fish in the aquarium. And no doubt these pumpkin seeds will be, not just the pumpkin seeds, the bluegills also, these sunfish in general, no doubt they'll be a great wet pet. They are very interactive with me, they are very greedy. When I stick my hand in the tank, they come right to me. And no doubt if I just keep one, they will be very enjoyable. So yeah, this tank is a work in progress. I'm loving these fish, I'm loving just the behavior, and I can't wait to see what becomes of them. So everyone, as always, if you have any questions or comments about what you saw today, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, make sure you leave a thumbs up. And as always, if you want more, make sure you subscribe, because as you already know, more is coming.